All right. Hey, everyone. Thanks for giving us to a listen one more time. I'm Logan,
I'm Travon.
and we're just getting back from Super Bowl weekend with some other action going on, like the Cavs getting freaking destroyed by Houston. Just as Jabari comes back, Malcolm Brogdon goes down,
And now Dellavedova.
and now Dellavedova too. And so there's a whole lot going on in the wide, crazy world of sports, and so we're going to try and get to as much as we can today, and hopefully you can join us along for the ride. So, obviously, the first place we have to start is, well, that kind of big game that happened on Sunday. Philly. Forget dilly dilly. This is Philly, Philly, man. I'm terrible. I know, I'm an English major. Deal with it. We make bad puns. So, the Eagles knocked off the Patriots in what might be the least defensive Super Bowl we've seen.
They went over 1,000 yards total.
Yeah, set an NFL record that game for most yards combined. So Brady threw over 500. Still lost. Eagles win 41-33.
My pick.
His
Throw that
pick.
out there.
I was wrong. I can admit when I'm wrong. Don't have to like it, but I'll admit it.
Stuck with it, so.
Yeah, pretty much. So let me start with you. What went right for Philly, and what made this happen?
Honestly, Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson, I don't want to say out-coached Belichick, but he was smarter in a way where they both did trick plays, but had the better athlete that actually was able to complete it.
Yeah, I mean, this is, of course, going beyond Foles and Brady with their catches. Obviously, Brady missed his, and Foles caught the touchdown pass, which was crazy in of itself. Um, but I have to agree. You could tell Peterson was going to be more aggressive.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things like a Sean Payton where you just look at this team and they understand that they need to take every opportunity they have.
Even the commentator said it was a 4th and 2 when they went for the trick play. He had to do that. If he didn't, you would put up nothing. If anything, take a field goal, give them Patriots an extra 4 points basically.
And we saw from as the rest of the game went down, this was a game where you did not leave points on the board.
No.
Because if you give the ball to New England, they're going to score a touchdown. Especially in the second half when Brady and Gronk were just lighting them up.
Both teams moved the ball down the field with ease. It was one punt and one turnover.
Yeah, New England never punted.
Yeah, Philly got one, and then it was a strip sack for basically the game at the end.
Yeah.
That was the only interception by Nate Foles, but it wasn't his fault.
Well, yeah, Jeffrey tried to catch it. You thought he had it for a second, but then it got bobbled up in the air and they picked it off. So
This was possibly the cleanest Super Bowl I've seen in a while.
yeah, and neither quarterback really got sacked much aside from the strip sack, which was probably the play of the game.
Yeah, but Eagles had a lot of pressure on Brady. You can see that.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, he was completely uncomfortable back there half the time.
He did. And what seemed odd to me watching the first half especially is even when he wasn't under pressure in the pocket, he didn't look comfortable.
Yeah.
Because a lot of his throws were either behind his receivers or
too far.
Yeah, just off.
And the most brilliant move that Eagles did was take away his biggest threat, James White.
Yeah.
And I think that's what made him so uncomfortable. He threw off his timing and Gronk, as you saw in the first half. He threw to him, 4 times and missed each one. James White was completely shut down by Malcolm Jenkins, and you wonder why is he not on Gronk, but you took out the best pass threat that he could ever have next to Gronk, so.
Yeah, and with Gronk, you can always throw the safety over the top with the corner in the slot or just go man-to-man in the slot. And if you spread Gronk out, there's only so much you can game plan for, and Philly did what they could.
Yeah.
Offensive shootout that it was, the score was only 41-33. Which when putting in perspective, Brady 500 yards passing, Foles threw for over 300. Ajayi and Blunt each had over 70 yards rushing because both had a couple huge breakout runs. So, I mean, for all the offensive production, the score, I felt, was lower than it probably could have been.
Yeah, because they both left touchdowns on the board. They all both ended with field goals, a couple drives, and a missed field goal and an extra point by Patriots, I believe, at one point.
Yeah, Gostowski hit the upright on, was it the 26-yard field goal, I want to say? That was shocking.
Yeah. So it could have been much higher and much closer, to be honest.
Yeah, it was one of those weird games, especially the score was at 15-12 at one point. I'm just sitting there like, Vegas odds makers are having fun with this one. And then I remember your prediction was 35-32 Philly. I'm sitting there in the second half. I want to say it was like 33-29 or something like that. I'm sitting like, another touchdown and a mixed extra point. We're looking at 35-33. I'm just saying, but if you get that close, you get a reward or something. I don't care if it.
So close, and I was so close to my prediction as far as the play too.
Right.
With the corner jumping the route, he just missed the pick.
Oh.
If he'd have caught that game over pick 6, and I was like, holy crap! I predicted it down to the final play. Oh yes, but he had to miss it.
This is one of those games I was glad I was wrong because I thought it would be a fumble, not a pick that would turn the game, and I thought it'd be someone like Ajayi who's fumbled before.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm wrong. It was Brady. Hey,
Which is a big shocker because he's not known for fumbling, even if he's getting sacked. He's known for going down.
Yeah.
But he was just making a play and probably didn't even feel the pressure, to be honest.
No, you could tell he was blindsided when he had the hit. And, it was just crazy because especially I had put it out on Facebook. As soon as Philly scored that touchdown with Ertz, that there was just or maybe this was before Ertz, but it was after the Ertz touchdown. Because it was only a 5-point game because they didn't get the 2-point conversion. I'm sitting there like, there's too much time.
Yeah, I got to work and saw that. I'm like, this is Brady time right now. It was like 2.5 minutes left.
Yeah. And a couple of my family on Facebook commented like, we're nervous too. And we're just watching it. All of a sudden the fumble happens. Everybody goes nuts. Yeah. Then Philly runs the clock down a bit, kicks the field goal. They're up by 8. So you need a touchdown, 2 points. People are like, well, Brady can still do it. Sure enough, he hits Gronk a couple times, sets him up for the Hail Mary, and then,
he's no Rodgers.
Which, to be fair, the ball got there.
It did.
The ball got there, and it bounced up for a second.
Philly almost screwed up because they hit it up a couple times.
Yeah.
Where Gronk or who was
I think Amendola was in the
air. Like, they both had a shot at catching that.
Yeah.
So they almost cost themselves a Super Bowl. I watched the replay. I'm like, please, no. Yes, it dropped. Let's go, Philly.
Let's go, Philly. They did, as expected. There was some interesting footage of the fans back in Philly.
Oh, yeah. They flipped the car. Knocked down a canopy, I believe, from a hotel or something like that. Collapsed like that. I basically heard they're burning down a city right now. It's going to be one heck of a parade in what's left of Philly.
That almost makes me wonder what happens when the Cleveland Browns finally get a ring. Or the Detroit Lions, for that matter, but that's for another day and another year.
Probably another decade or two, but I ain't saying nothing.
Well, that and their fans are much different than Philly fans. Philly's a unique breed of itself.
Yeah, they booed Santa Claus, so.
And hit him with snowballs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, gosh. So, looking back on the game, one of the things that stood out to me especially was special teams and the role they played. Like we said, there were points left on the board with missed field goals, extra points, but the last Patriots drive that set up the Hail Mary attempt.
That stupid lateral reversal. Yeah.
I don't know if it was called in the huddle for special teams or what the deal was, but as soon as they got the kickoff return, the return man made a few steps.
And then went right and handed it off. Like, really?
Did the lateral, and it just died. They were at, their own 10.
Yeah.
And even
Philly wasn't full.
No.
Like, you try to throw a trick play out there, but they was ready for anything. They was really riding high, so you couldn't hit them with nothing.
And even if you want to do a lateral like that, wait till you get to at least the 15 or 20 and then let him go across the field.
Yeah, not literally 10-5 where you can cost yourself 10 more yards.
And I think credit has to be given again to Philly's defensive line for putting pressure on Brady in that situation because it got to 3rd, 4th down back in his own goal line. Granted, they got the first down to set up the attempt, but the fact that the pressure was there against this vaunted Patriots offensive line was something to be said for, especially. Really a fun game to watch, to be sure, if you love offense. If you're a traditionalist and like defense,
Don't watch it.
Nah.
There's, yeah, there was some moments, but it was strictly Nick Foles surprisingly throwing dimes
Oh, man.
and Brady being Brady, basically.
Foles thoroughly deserved the game's MVP, no doubt. I mean,
I can argue the offensive line just for the simple fact
the day an offensive line collectively gets MVP.
they should have, bro. Foles wasn't touched.
No.
Wasn't touched. Nothing but fat holes. You said it yourself. 70 yards apiece between Ajayi and Blunt. And then you got Corey Clement coming out there out of the backfield catching passes going deep.
He looked like a Darren Sproles out there.
Yeah, that's the sad thing. What, Sproles was hurt this year?
Yeah.
So you got Sproles hurt, Wentz hurt, Jason Peters was hurt. They can come back and do it all again. Are we looking at the next Patriots in a sense, the next dynasty?
It makes you think. And in more ways than one, and we'll get to this in a second when looking briefly too far in the future. But yeah, Foles, my goodness, some of the throws he made. One of my friends texted me during the game saying, when did Philly get Aaron Rodgers and can we have him back? I was like, they can rent him for the Super Bowl.
Right. He was making throws like that whole dropping a dime, that controversial catch
to
touchdown,
yeah.
Clement in the backfield end zone. That was a beautiful drop there. It was over two defenders.
Well, and the first one to Jeffrey where he went up and snagged it. My goodness. Yeah. Like, props to Jeffrey for getting up there, but to put the ball there.
The guts he showed being the backup in the Super Bowl with all his height, he played his butt off.
Man. And you could just tell, like, he just... And that also speaks back to Peterson, because you have the trust in this guy to say, go out and get him.
Yeah.
I'm not going to hold you back. I'm not, we're not going to...
Peterson completely brought in. He literally, I want to say, called Andy Reid. Probably even talked to Chip Kelly. Like, what worked for this guy? And tailored the last, 6 games, including the Super Bowl, around that.
Which is something, because he played against Dallas, the Giants, even Atlanta, and didn't look nearly like this. All of a sudden, Minnesota rolls along, and he just... Granted, Jeffrey was open one of those touchdown passes, but the flea flicker to Torrey Smith was beautiful.
Yeah.
And then he plays the game of his life in the Super Bowl. Like, what can you say?
He made himself some money, but I don't think he's going to take it. He got one more year left. Do you leave after next year or get traded to a team that may not make the playoffs?
That's the question everybody wants to ask now to make it controversial, because it always has to be in sports, is what's Carson Wentz going to do?
Now? It's not what's Wentz going to do. It's what's Foles going to do. You're not going to trade Carson Wentz, who, coming off MVP season, I still say, after missing the last, 4 games of the season, should have won MVP.
Yeah.
You're not going to trade that for 29, 30-year-old Foles who had 2 good years. Well, 1.5 the last 4 or 5 games of the season and 2 more in the playoffs. You're not going to trade that for the future.
I'm just really curious, especially going back to the Philly fan base, just how impatient and how unique they can be. I'll put it like that. Yeah. But let's, God forbid when Wentz does get back, if he has a few struggles, overthrows like he did his rookie year or something like that, and the fan base gets restless. Like, you don't want to see it get ugly down there.
True, but you can't give up on a second-year player coming off a knee injury where he tore his ACL, still finished the drive and threw a touchdown pass. You can't give up on that. Like, come on now.
Yeah.
He has to put pressure on that knee, plant to throw that ball for a touchdown. You can't give up on somebody with that much hurt.
This is true.
And at the same time, you can't give up on a Super Bowl winner, but you have to let him know Wentz is your franchise.
Yeah. Well, and if anything, it could be nice, depending on the timetable for Wentz. I'm not sure. I got to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure it's kind of an August, September sort of scenario for him.
He's saying he's planning on or trying to be back for training camp.
Right.
So that's projected right now. And I wouldn't force it. I would make sure I wouldn't trade Foles right now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trade him. I wouldn't trade him at all. I would play after the year.
Well, and people are like, his value is never going to be higher. And it's just true. And for teams like Minnesota or like Cleveland, who could use a starting quarterback of his caliber, you could definitely maybe shop him a little bit just to entertain offers, but I don't think you pull the trigger. Just because if you can have full start for you weeks 1 through 3 if need be, and ease Wentz back into it,
Yeah.
that's your best bet.
But who's to say he actually wants to leave? He loves Philly. He's not. He doesn't seem like the type to want to leave just for the money. I mean, I heard a report he wants to be a preacher. So I don't really see him leaving for money. He wants to be happy, essentially.
Right.
And I think he's in the perfect situation where he loves the locker room, the guys there, loves being in Philly. So why would he leave?
Yeah. And that's on Philly at that point. That's one of those things where if you get an offer you can't refuse, you can't refuse.
I mean, you can refuse it. I mean, what's wrong with having the best of both worlds? You started those down. You have an MVP backup.
Yeah.
Granted, you may have to pay him more than a backup salary, but that's the price you got to take.
Right. And that's what teams would kill for, like Green Bay, who had quarterback issues when Rodgers went down this year, and that just killed their season. There were a few other things went into it, but that was a big issue for them. So, I mean, everybody would love to have that quarterback issue.
Like right now, the Patriots have that problem. If Brady go down, who you don't trust? Brian Hoyer?
I don't know, man. To me, anybody in Belichick, it's been proven anybody in Belichick's system can perform at least adequately.
This is true, but this is saying Belichick's going to still be there.
That's the flip side from Philly to New England. What's the fallout of this? Because Patricia's gone to Detroit. McDaniels just took Indianapolis. So internally, they got to bring on all new staff.
Yeah, the whole new staff. I believe the quarterback's coach is moving the offensive coordinator there.
I could see it.
And I think they're losing defensive backs coach or something like that to the Colts staff, I think.
Could be.
I think that's a report I read earlier.
But either way, the Patriots go as Belichick and Brady go. Brady,
Brady's coming back no matter what. I still hold true, even though they lost. I think Belichick's done. Or at least done in New England. I think he may take a year off, like some are saying. Let New England do what they do. Let his contract run out and just say, skip it. I'm going to go somewhere else to be a GM or something.
Right.
I personally think he's done. I don't see him wanting to come back and deal with Robert Kraft after getting overthrown on his decision to keep Garoppolo and potentially put him in outside of Brady. Take Brady out.
And that kind of brings to mind, does Brady feel comfortable enough with himself as much as the organization that he'd be fine without Belichick? That's kind of the question everybody always wants to ask. Is it 50-50, 60-40?
Like, I want him to leave so Brady can prove he's the GOAT.
Yeah.
If he's the GOAT, he can do it without Bill. And vice versa. If Bill's the greatest coach of all time, or you can say greatest GM of all time because he runs both of them in the England, he can go somewhere else. Not going to say Cleveland because he holds gripes against Cleveland right now. He's not going back there, but he can go somewhere else and make the next New England or the next Philly right now.
I think you have to put an asterisk next to it, though, because it's one thing if you're taking him away from Brady at age 30 or 35. The man's going to be, 41, 42 next year. I don't care how great you're playing. You threw for 500 yards in the Super Bowl, great. Age is going to hit you, and it's going to hit you as hard as it hit Peyton Manning and Favre. It took time, but it's going to hit you. And I don't, as much as I'm not a Patriots fan, I never want to see a quarterback go down with a serious injury or something like that, or be forced out of the game. Like, you want to see them go out on their own terms.
He's going to have to be forced.
Yeah.
Even his dad has said that. You're going to have to say, Brady, sit your old butt down. You can't play this game anymore.
Yeah.
And that's what I was looking for to happen in the Philly game, in the Super Bowl. Not that I was hoping for him to get knocked out, but I was hoping for him to take that hit, for him to get up and realize, crap, I should probably be done with this.
Well, you think with all the concussions Roethlisberger's had, he would be there. Well, that's part of why he's been talking on and off about it. Also, to get rid of Chuck Haley, which congrats.
Todd Haley.
Todd
But
Haley, not Chuck
yeah.
Haley. I don't know who I was thinking about, but yeah, congrats on doing that, Ben. But but yeah, with injuries nowadays, and just with the change of the guard, like we talked about it briefly last week, the running game is just becoming trendy once again.
Yeah, you're getting great running backs like Todd Gurley, Ezekiel Elliott,
Kamara.
You got 3 in Philly right now that can take over. Then you got Sproles coming back.
And let's not forget, Dalvin Cook had some breakout games for Minnesota before he went down.
Before he tore his ACL, like the running back is back. I'm not gonna say it's a change in the guard. I believe it's back. Because what Todd Gurley rushed for 500 more yards than he did last year, and he's only just getting better.
Yeah,
Ezekiel Elliott missed 6 games, and I still think he broke 1,200 yards rushing.
if that. Yeah, I mean, and you look at the teams who have been successful, even Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman down in Atlanta, that tandem they have, that's nothing to look down on. So, I mean, it's the game's changing. It always is. You know, we went through the golden age of quarterbacks with Manning, Rivers, Rodgers, Brady, Favre, and all of them. And you just look at that and just be grateful that you were able to watch that. But now you're getting back to running backs like you had in the generation before. And it's a cycle is what the game is. And so it feels like we're getting back to that. And so it'll be interesting to see what teams do to kind of adapt and
especially with this coming draft, because you can still say you're in a golden age of quarterback because you still got Rodgers, you got Wentz, you got Goff who can sling it, and then you got draft analysts are saying 3 potentials coming in from the college game that can change the quarterback play.
I've talked with my friend Sam about this, who I hope to have on this podcast at some point. He knows football a lot better than I do. But we've talked about this, looking ahead to the draft, and I've said, in my opinion, when you look at guys like Rosen, Darnold, the kid out in Wyoming, and these other players like that, they could be boom or bust. And it all depends on where you get drafted.
Yeah.
Because if you get the right coach and the right system, you're golden.
Yeah.
And it sounds obvious, but I'm sorry, if you flip-flopped Andrew Luck with RG3, who knows what would have changed? If you flip-flop Matt Ryan and Joe Flacco, who knows what would have changed? You know, you could never really, I mean, Peyton Manning and Ryan Leaf.
Yeah.
You look throughout history, Alex Smith and Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I mean, you just look at history and just say, you know, what would have happened different? You know, where you go to and what time you're there is just, that's what makes it. Because if you can get developed, or some players every now and then don't need much developing, they can just fit in right away. Kind of like Russell Wilson did in Seattle. He got there. Matt Flynn was a starter because he just came off a good year with Green Bay, so they signed him on. But he beat out Flynn in training camp, got the starter role, and he's been there ever since.
Yeah, Flynn went and robbed him. But no, I agree with that. I feel like anybody, I hate to say it, anybody that goes to Cleveland, I think just ends up in a quarterback abyss down there. Because, I mean, not saying that he's completely bad, but Deshaun Kaiser, he was horrible. Granted, when he got a weapon, he was horrible throughout the whole season, but he got Josh Gordon back, and you saw flashes of actual, I won't say stardom, but a skilled quarterback. Like, you need the pieces around you, but at the same time, you need the coach, and I don't think he has that quarterback coach that helped build him up. I mean, I like Hugh Jackson, but I don't know if he's going to be that head coach guy, or Todd Haley, who just got down there as offensive coordinator, going to be that guy to help him realize that he can be a good quarterback, realize his potential. But if you bring in somebody like Darnold, will that change? With the simple fact Darnold is built for that type of weather. Look at him. He's a stocky quarterback, kind of like Big Ben. But will he work with Todd Haley? And somebody like, who was that, Rosen from Cal? UCLA, yeah. Will he go to somebody like New York and fit in there? A big name, big city. Can he fit in there and do damage?
I don't know. And it's always interesting to see, um, are we going to see Eli Manning's replacement drafted?
They need to. You can't rest on your laurels and say Eli's going to last a couple more seasons. They need to look into it, but they got a top 5 pick. One of them's going to drop to them. Because you can say Indiana's not drafting a quarterback now. Luck's going to come back. They got Josh McDaniels, who arguably can be one of the best offensive coordinators / head coaches now. Hopefully. He got his quarterback. He basically got a Brady. So that's out of the run. You would think they would get somebody like Saquon Barkley to shore up their running back spot for him and give him a two-headed monster in that backfield.
Here's another thing. Just at this point, we're almost essentially in our off-season too early look phase. We're just looking towards the draft and kind of what teams need to do to build on for the future. How much time do you give Jameis Winston in Tampa?
Personally, I think this is his last year as far as showing what he can actually do. Like being consistent, because he's up and down like every year so far. When he's been in the league 2 years. Mariota, you can arguably say, is probably better than him right now. And that's a stretch because he's not that good of a leader, but Winston is. But quarterback play-wise, you can't compare it.
Which is crazy because coming out of the draft, it was almost the opposite. Everybody's looking at Mariota as the good student of the game and leader, and Winston has all the physical capabilities. Mm-hmm. You wonder if it's Winston who isn't able to adapt to the game, which I don't think is the case because you've seen flashes of him connecting with Mike Evans and Vincent Jackson. Like, you can see the talent there. I don't know if it's coaching there, if it's just something with Winston that he's not connecting it consistently or what the deal is, but we'll see.
He reminds me too much of Cam Newton. And
that's another one.
Yeah, you know how I feel on Cam. Cam had, 2 good years. A year with Steve Smith and then Super Bowl year. Like, I honestly feel like that's going to be Jameis Winston, but I don't see him getting to the Super Bowl. I don't see him winning the MVP right now unless he does a complete 180 and just plays off this rockers the next coming years.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, in that division in the NFC South, it seems to fluctuate every year. 1 year it's Carolina and Cam Newton's MVP year. Next year it's Matt Ryan MVP year. This year it's New Orleans who broke out with Kamara, Ingram, and Breeze, and
Lattimore,
and their surprising defense.
Like, can you say it's a toss-up anymore? Can you say just New Orleans is gonna win it the next year or so? Or as long as Drew Brees is playing at quarterback.
It seems to be rotating every year. So, I mean, I don't want to say one way or another. Obviously, injuries tell the story.
Yeah.
But each of the 4 teams in that division, Tampa Bay, Carolina, New Orleans, and Atlanta, has quality youth on their defense and has potential on their offense. At that point, it's who wins the division and who can just play consistent.
True. I mean, I think it's more so consistent quarterback play.
Yeah, that's a big part of it.
Yeah, Cam Newton, like I said, is up and down. Matt Ryan, I will put more so probably on Steve Sarkisian, but he's just so much up and down. He should have the authority now to say, Julio, come to you. I don't care what's called. And you didn't see that at all this past season.
Mm-mm.
It was, if it wasn't called, he wasn't going to Julio. It's like, dude, you have my friend Corey will say, a grown-ass man at receiver. Throw him the ball. Throw it up.
Seriously. He's one of those guys, more so than Alshon Jeffrey, where if you throw it up, you almost have Moss.
You got 95% of the time, he's coming down with it.
You legit, yeah.
5% is going out of bounds. There's no way it's going to be a pick.
No. Seriously.
So what is he actually doing down there? Is he just saying, you know what? Everybody's keen on you, Julio. You got a double team. So?
Right. That's to be expected. There's one game Green Bay double-teamed Julio with a corner and a safety. This was before they got blown out in the title game. This was like 4 years ago, I want to say. At least 3 years ago. It was in Lambeau. I remember this. Julio lit him up for like 250 yards receiving. Double-teamed like the entire game.
Yeah.
Like, this is nothing new. Like, granted, Green Bay's secondary has been terrible in recent memory. But still.
His secondary, I don't care who you throw on Julio, he's going to torch you.
Yeah.
If you allow him to.
He lit up Seattle in their backyard.
He lit up New England in the Super Bowl last year. You literally see Bill Belichick on the sideline, holy crap, what are we doing with this guy?
You saw, there was one shot of him on the sideline just flipping through the playbook like,
This is not going to work. We got to switch something. You saw that.
Yeah.
Like, come on. You got possibly the greatest defensive mind saying, I don't know what to do to stop him.
That tells you something right there. And it's not fair to make this comparison just because, these guys have been to a Super Bowl and Detroit hasn't, but you don't want it to be a Matt Stafford and Megatron connection where you just don't get the success that they should have.
Yeah. And
because they seem eerily similar to me just watching them.
Sadly, it is. Because Megatron and Stafford, I thought was going to run the Central. Well, the North, my bad. Was going to run the NFC North just because of that connection. You can't stop it. Megatron was LeBron in the NFL. Like, come on, who's going to actually try to hit him? You hit him, you're going to get hurt.
Yeah, pretty much. I think that might have happened a couple of times, too.
I mean, you're hitting a brick wall. You might just say, you know what? Go score. I want to stay healthy. You just go score. That's what it was.
Man, that guy was fun to watch. When he retired, that just shocked the league, and I was so sad to see him go.
It's a whole nother Barry Sanders all over again.
So sad to see him go.
He's like, why risk myself getting hurt when we ain't doing nothing? It's essentially Barry Sanders all over again in my mind.
Which I get, respect, keep your health, have a great life. I get that, but... And this is a Packers fan talking. I loved watching that guy play, even when he was torching Green Bay.
You got to. That's great football.
Yeah. So going along with this off-season too early look, clearly Philly's a favorite next year.
No.
Whatever.
I believe the odds came out it was New England.
I don't care about the odds. The odds.
Pittsburgh and Green Bay, surprisingly, were the top three favorites.
Green Bay is not the favorite in their own division. You
can argue they are.
All right, we're going to play a little first take. Argue me why Green Bay should be a favorite.
What quarterback's going to stop them in that division?
Doesn't matter. The defense will.
Not really.
Yes.
Rodgers has torched Minnesota's defense.
When?
Not last year, yes.
Not the year before.
They split the games with 1-1.
Yeah, but they barely won the other one at home because Minnesota was riddled with injuries. When you look at the past 3 years, Minnesota took the division from Rodgers. Green Bay only made it to the playoffs in the last week of the season with a win over Detroit that year. That's because Minnesota had so many injuries and didn't have a running back or a quarterback. They got in Dalvin Cook. They got in the defense. Now they're clicking. So you look at Green Bay and what they've done in the division past few years, right?
Okay.
Beaten Chicago barely. Took a last-second pass to Jordy last year. Set him up for field goal. We can't count
last year just for the simple fact.
Okay, let's look at this year. Let's look at this year. You barely beat them both times. And they had Trubisky, and they were struggling most of the year. So you barely beat them both times. Hundley or not, I don't care. You should be beating the Bears consistently with this team. And the reason I'm looking at last year is because I want to count the games that Rodgers was in, because people want to say it was Rodgers, whatever they won. Well, no, if you look at Rodgers against the division, he doesn't really dominate that much.
He can't, for the simple fact he has to nonstop just have to keep trying to score, and their offense is not built for that. But if he can literally essentially go point for point, or at least the defense somewhat step up, I mean, there's no real good quarterback in the division other than Rodgers.
And that's what the point I would concede to you is that quarterback-wise, there's no real comparison.
Yeah.
The closest you can argue is Matt Stafford, who has outplayed Rodgers in the past.
Yeah, he has, and I will give him that.
They've gone both ways.
But you can say the clear-cut winner should be Minnesota just because the defense is just unstoppable.
Exactly.
But Rodgers will always find a way, if healthy, and if the GM gets behind him and actually gets him a decent defense.
Which you hope with Gutekunst, who just took over, but we'll see how that turns out in the offseason. I don't want to put too much.
I don't want to get my hopes up, but there's some nice free agents. I hate to say it, even Malcolm Brogdon. I would not Malcolm Brogdon.
Butler.
Butler. potentially can get signed and come over as a corner. I think he was a one-hit wonder, but he played consistently enough to where everybody's disappointed where he didn't play in the Super Bowl.
Now, this is me being petty for 1 second, but which hit you talking about? The hit where he picked off the Seahawks to end it, or the hit where he left his ankles behind when Taylor Gabriel cut him?
See, that's not benefiting him. That was just downgrading him right there. So that's just wrong. I'm talking about the pick against Russell Wilson, okay?
I'm just saying. But yeah, to me, Green Bay got exposed.
Oh, yeah.
This past year. You literally saw that Rodgers is your team, and overall, if you take him away,
You're Cleveland.
You're Cleveland. You shouldn't have beat Cleveland. Cleveland dominated that entire game. You should not have beat the Cleveland Browns.
You okay up there?
No. But watching the Packers just an exercise in futility this season. You know, LeBron wants to say we should be off national television. Good luck with that. You're LeBron James. Deal with it. The Green Bay Packers played the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday Night Football.
They showed up.
Going into it, Packer Nation...
Like, please don't show this game. Watching this game.
Really wanted it flexed back to a noon.
Yeah.
Even 3:30, fine. At least we're not completely nationally televised.
Yeah.
No, they kept it Sunday night, and we had the audacity to show up for 3 3/4 quarters, and then Pittsburgh stole it at the end. Like, being a Packer fan was just like, you're sitting there watching it, waiting for these players to show up, and they're not. And then you're starting to realize, oh, wait, Rodgers is our team. Then you look at Minnesota. Then you look at Jacksonville. Then you look at LA. Then you look at Philly. You're sitting like, well...
Yeah, I'm by far not saying they're the favorite to win the Super Bowl. They will have to do a lot in the offseason for me to say, yeah, the Packers are going to take the division by a mile and win the Super Bowl. They have to do a lot. As I say, Minnesota can get back to the Super Bowl if they honestly decide on who's going to be quarterback.
Yeah.
And just go with that, barring injury.
Well, we can go top 3 right now. Right now, my top 3 NFC favorites next year, in no particular order, but it's Philly, it's the Rams, and it's the Saints. Especially if Breeze comes back, which everyone is expecting to, because he said he's not going to test free agency. New Orleans was a missed tackle away from the NFC title game, and I honestly think New Orleans could have beat Philly. They were a great matchup. At least it would have been closer. No offense, Minnesota, but it would have been.
Yeah. Yeah, I will give you that.
New Orleans, offensively and defensively, is just so balanced all around.
Yeah, they literally called on Drew Brees in the fourth quarter to say, hey, we're down 14 points. We want to win this game now or later. That's basically what it was.
Yeah.
Like, the defense will keep them in the game. Camaro and Ingram will go off. And if they need that last touchdown to get them over the hump, they will say, Breeze, go get it.
Which brings me to the Rams. Sean McVay, Coach of the Year. Glad to see he got it. Well deserved. You could argue Peterson, but we said, both ways. Yeah. Fine. Gurley, another year with Goff. Talent in the receiving core. The defense, which was good before McVay got there, is just outstanding. And especially in a division where Seattle's got a lot of internal turmoil going on.
Seattle's done.
Seattle, that Legion of Boom is blown up, which sucks because you saw the injuries and you don't want to see it end like that. But yeah. Seattle could be done for right now. We don't know how long Pete Carroll will stay there. They're over the hump. It's going to take time, probably, for Garoppolo to get it together and really get them to 10 wins. But for goodness sakes, we don't know how much time that could be.
They could get 10 wins this season. They won 5.
So San Francisco could be a wild card that nobody sees coming. Or that everybody sees because everybody watched Garoppolo.
Everybody sees that coming.
But the other team in the division's Arizona. They're over the hump too. They had their chance with Palmer and Fitzgerald. Carolina blew them away on their way to losing the Super Bowl to Denver.
But who's to say they don't get Kirk Cousins and Kirk Cousins just blows everybody's mind?
Even if he does, I'd still put the Rams ahead of them overall. They could still snatch a wild card and maybe turn some heads.
I'm not saying jumping Rams or Saints or anybody like that. I'm talking about making it to the playoffs and maybe winning the first round.
Oh, yeah. The potential is there. Wild card is always fun to watch in the NFL just because you never know what you're going to get. You can get an ugly game out of the Buffalo Bills and Jacksonville Jaguars like we had. Or you could get something really entertaining like New Orleans and Carolina put out there.
Yeah.
Because especially towards the end when Cam was leading them back on some comeback drives, like you were engaged and thinking, oh my gosh, are they going to pull this off? So you never know what you're going to get. So it's always fun to see Wild Card Weekend. But yeah, the Rams are my other favorite with New Orleans and obviously Philly, defending champs, coming back reloaded. Like
coming back healthy. You can essentially say it's the Packers from 2010 where they won the Super Bowl and then came back 2011 healthy and went 15-1.
Yeah, except this team has a defense.
Yeah, basically.
Which is scary.
Yeah. Like, you got a defense, and Carson Wentz should be back fully healthy, I would say, week 6.
Yeah.
Probably completely confident by that time, too.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of my 3-team race going into the NFC next year. Other teams that can contend, Minnesota, if they get consistency at quarterback. Not saying it's not Keenum or Bridgewater or whoever's there. They just need to pick a guy and go all in, like Philly did with Wentz and then Foles. Like, go all in, be all invested, you'll be fine.
But are they all glorified backups? Can you...
Well, even if you go for a Cousins, a whoever you go with, even if they're glorified backups, we saw what Keenum did and what he took them to the NFC title game.
But can a glorified backup take you through the whole NFL season and get you into the Super Bowl? Because you can't argue he's a Nick Foles just because Nick Foles played, 5-6 games and got him to the Super Bowl?
Well, Bradford only was healthy 2 games of the past season. He was their starter. Yeah. Keenum played basically the whole year, and he got him to the NFC title game. So, I mean, credit where credit's due. You didn't have Delv and Cook either. So, I mean, they were handicapped most of the year. Yeah. So, we can't talk about Eagles injuries. Minnesota's right there with them. So, definitely a team to watch out for. Obviously, while Aaron Rodgers is healthy, the Packers are always fun to watch.
Yeah. That's a no-brainer. Like, if they get a defense, they would just be dangerous.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
They need a good shutdown corner, even though I like, who is that, Kevin King?
King is good. He's got some good hard-hitting, raw potential. Sometimes he had a little trouble with the faster receivers, but it's expected your rookie year. So, I mean, him and Demarius Randall, if the two of them can click together, cool. That'll be fun to watch. Because you look at the safeties with Clinton Dix, with Burnett, that's consistency that's already there. You can depend on them. They might have an iffy game or two, but...
That's everybody. Everybody has a bad game or two.
Yeah. So, Harrison Smith and Sendejo out in Minnesota, I don't know if there's a better safety tandem in the league right now, except for maybe in Philly. But, yeah. So, you get what you get. And hopefully Pettin can make it click for Green Bay, like he did, and oddly enough, Cleveland, because they actually had a good D when he was there. They didn't have anything else, but...
They played with heart, though. I would give them that.
Oh, yeah. So, I think we'll see. It'll be interesting once draft season rolls around and you see what teams... Because that essentially plays your hand when you draft, because you're addressing needs, but every now and then you make a statement, too. Mm-hmm. Like when Green Bay brought in Rodgers back in 2005. Favre didn't go till, 2007, 2008? So that's 2 or 3 years in advance of you knowing that he's your guy.
And that's why I feel like a team like New York needs to draft that quarterback. Let him sit behind an established veteran, a Super Bowl winner in Eli, and you will probably have a seamless transition.
Yeah. So that'll be something to look forward to. And, of course, free agency, trades, and all that. So definitely something to keep an eye on in the future. Super Bowl is come and gone, so is another NFL season.
It's a little depressing.
Kind of.
So now you got baseball season coming.
Oh, did I say that out loud? That off season's already been lit up, but that might have to be for our next session on Thursday.
Yankees.
Whatever.
Don't hate. Stop hating.
Just a little?
No.
Oh.
Don't hate on the Yankees. Just because we got Stanton. No.
I don't care about Stanton. You have too much money.
We didn't pay for him, though.
His contract was already there. You just took it on.
It's not our problem. We traded them prospects.
What you gotta understand, people who are still listening somehow, is that Travon here is a Yankees fan. He also likes the Brewers, so he's smart for that. And I'm getting a collective look of disdain, but whatever. Like I said in the first podcast, I got a little love for Detroit still, so Tigers and Brewers for me, but just love watching good baseball. But God, that World Series, oh my gosh.
Let's not talk about that. My Yankees are supposed to be there in Verlander.
You'll get back there at some point.
Let's move on. Okay?
Let's move on. Baseball, we're not even spring training yet, so we'll put that on the shelf. What is still going on is the NBA, as we alluded to in our lovely intro. That is probably going to be edited down quite a bit by now. There's something going on with our hometown Bucks as well as the Cleveland Cavaliers. Which one should we go to first?
I love LeBron. So let's go.
That's how we started our first podcast, is with LeBron. Let's get back to it. The man said after getting blown out and embarrassed at home by the Houston Rockets, we shouldn't be on national television. Number one, shut up, LeBron.
But is he wrong? Granted, yes, he's LeBron James.
That's it.
Is he wrong, though?
Well, you got to understand.
They got, 30 ball by the Rockets?
He's got, and I get it. He said it heat in the moment. He's disappointed. I get that. I grant that. I probably would have said something similar. But there's TV contracts. There's already games set and schedule. So it's not like a flex system with the NFL where you can magically throw another game on TV. No, these games are picked in advance when the season starts. The schedule is released, and you know how many national televised games you get. Like, for better or worse. There's been years where the Bulls and Knicks would get nationally televised games where they didn't have a full squad. Like, it's just the star power names will always get audiences. That's just how the business works. So that's my little rant on that. But in general, oh man. I mean, Chris Paul drained a 3 in LeBron's face.
Dude, yeah, and that was nasty because he looked at him like, you really think give me all this space? And then it was like a little fader. It was like a LeBron 3. But the sad part was, Harden had 16 points. Let me say that again.
One more time.
James Harden had 16 points.
And they still pretty much 40-balled the Cavs in their home court.
Yeah. How? I don't know. That was a collective team ass whooping.
Houston. Let's give credit where credit's due, number one. We've talked about Cleveland and chaos and all that, and we'll get to it. But best believe that. Major props to Houston because, my goodness, the biggest question mark going into the season had to have been, can Chris Paul and James Harden connect? Because you have two ball-dominant players.
That was probably your major question. I didn't think it was going to be a problem.
Oh, I heard it in the media too, but I'll take blame.
Yes, they're going to start the game together, but this is the first time where either or can go to the bench and you still got that dominant point guard that can lead the offense. So it was the perfect fit in my mind. This is not LeBron going to Houston where they're both going to start and both are completely ball dominant with James Harden, but who's going to actually control the ball? Because you know LeBron needs the ball in his hands in order for him to be any type of successful, which is kind of sad for him to be an off-guard type of player technically, but this was literally both of them didn't want the ball in their hands. That's why Chris Paul came to Houston, and James Harden wanted to go back to the 2-guard, even though he flourished as a pure point guard, which is weird.
Yeah.
To me, it was the perfect situation. You got the other dominant guard where if either one of them go to the bench, you don't miss a beat.
Yeah.
And it was shown against Cleveland.
And they've made it work in the West where it can be hard to have that successful run in the backcourt.
Yeah.
With the talent that's loaded out there. Lillard, Westbrook, Curry, and what have you. Oh, I guess we should address LeBron in Cleveland now that we've given props to Houston. Number one, how long does Tyronn Lue have left? Because I don't think anybody in the world is buying these reports of his job security. I don't know. To me, it goes, again, it's same with David Blatt and whoever, it goes with LeBron. Is there an assistant they'd be willing to promote? Maybe not. Maybe that's what's keeping him there.
That and can you fire him with the fact that you know LeBron's not staying?
I think that's where Gilbert and the front office is sitting right now. Like,
and that's why they're not shopping the next pick, too. Gilbert wants LeBron. I saw a report, even though I take what Stephen A. Smith says somewhat with a grain of salt. He even feels like Dan Gilbert is tired of LeBron holding him hostage, which that's what he does in any franchise.
Yeah.
He didn't do it initially with Cleveland because, I mean, he came in as a rookie, hometown team. Let me play by their rules.
Right.
Then he left to Miami and thank you for 2 more championships, but he held the franchise hostage.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what happened when he left. We went from number 1 team in the East to
like 10th
lottery.
Oh yeah, it was like. Dang.
That's how we got Justin Winslow.
Yeah.
We went to the lottery. So he's known to holding a team hostage. And he's just waiting for the end of the season because he know LeBron's not going to sign a 3 to 5 year deal, which he wanted him to do this year. He's just waiting for him to leave now. So why trade the number 1 pick, well, potential top 5 pick, because for some reason Brooklyn decided to win games this year. Go figure.
Yeah.
And get a top 5 player. You got talent coming out, and Bagley and Oklahoma dude. Trae Young, there we go. Yeah, Trae Young. The nonstop shot taker. There we go.
The new Westbrook.
Yeah, you got talent coming out.
Well, new Westbrook without the dunking.
True.
But that's just because Westbrook's unique. I feel the same way. If I'm Cleveland, to me, you shop LeBron before you shop that pick.
But LeBron,
which sounds crazy because LeBron isn't going to want to go anywhere.
Yeah,
he wants to go on his own terms.
He's not going to rave that no trade clause for the simple fact anywhere he go, he's not going to win.
No.
Because they got to give up too much for LeBron. Gilbert is not going to take any deal where he's not getting at least 1 star back, maybe a star role player in the pick.
Yeah.
And that's a whole team right there. You send them to Phoenix, you're going to get back, Josh Jackson, Devin Booker, and maybe another pick. That's how much LeBron is worth, to be honest.
Right.
So you're not going to win.
Which gets back to the conversation we had on Thursday is just what happens in the playoffs.
They're not coming out the East.
No. I don't think anybody's touching Boston right now.
I don't see them losing earlier than the Eastern Conference Finals, but I wouldn't be surprised if a Toronto sneaks up on them in the second round.
I was going to say, if they catch him in the semifinals, if they catch a matchup with Toronto.
I think to this point, even if the Bucks slips that far or they're 4-5.
No, I was going to say, if Cleveland and Milwaukee are 4-5, that might be the most entertaining first-round series.
That's be one heck of a first-round series where I see going 7 games, tiring LeBron out. That old team is going to be dead coming the second round, and somebody's going to catch them slipping in the second round.
Yeah.
That's how I honestly see it, because Jabari's come. You got that listed as Jabari coming back. He actually didn't look bad on Friday.
I was going to say, between Friday and Sunday, both games he had like 8 to 12 points in his 15-minute time limit.
Yeah, he didn't look bad. He actually went up on that bad knee, surgery repaired knee, and caught a overthrown ball and laid it up his first 2 minutes in the game on Friday.
So, you develop chemistry with him, Middleton, Giannis, get the 3 of them clicking, which is something you've almost never seen before in Milwaukee uniform together.
Then you got him a pure point.
Then you got Eric Bledsoe, and Brogdon's out for about a month or so, maybe 2 months. Get him back in the last couple weeks of the season, get them in rotation, get Dellavedova back in the next month, just as a nice role player off the bench.
This can potentially be a nice run in the playoffs for the Bucks. If they're healthy and the chemistry's there.
Yeah. They've won 6 of 7 with Prunty in charge. Put an asterisk there, I will grant, because the schedule got really light the past week or two. But regardless, they're winning games.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how much they can continue to do this and who else in the East can potentially step up. Which is odd to say that, because ever since John Wall went down, the Wizards have been winning games. Go figure.
It's a little problem there, but okay. Do you move on from John Wall and say, you know what, Bradley Beal, you're not bad? Because they're winning with Bill and Dortal, which I saw a report why they're trying to trade Dortal. Come on.
Who are they trying to trade him for?
I don't know. I just heard they're trying to trade him. He's on the market right now.
See, I don't get it. I really don't. And looking at the standings right now, Celtics and Raptors 1 and 2. The gap between Cleveland as the 3 seed and well, shoot, the 8 seed is the Sixers. The gap is 4.5 games. That is ridiculous.
So they can literally drop to the last seed of the playoff.
In the span of 2 weeks.
Yeah. They better figure something out here. If not, I'm not going to say they don't miss the playoffs because it's LeBron. He's not doing that.
No.
But his streak of 7 straight is actually on the line right now. He's not a for sure finals lock no more.
No. Which is something that I don't know if anybody would have said in the preseason. Especially, you tell me that Gordon Hayward is going down in the first game of the season with the gruesome injury that he went down with. And Boston's still going to be running the East? And it's not just Kyrie doing it? Huh.
And this is where I was mad with all the analysts. It's like everybody's saying LeBron and the Cavs are probably the deepest team that they have seen in years. True. But they're old as dirt. Nothing against my boy D Wade. He literally coming off the bench playing 20 minutes a game, and he's missing. He's like an Embiid now. He doesn't really play back to backs no more.
Well, it's him. It's Jr. It's Shumpert. It's all these guys. You know, you're not hitting them in their prime.
No,
they've peaked. You know what you can expect, and you're gonna get quality from them. But for goodness sakes, they're not gonna give you a shock 40-point game out of each of them like you could get out of a Golden State team, out of someone else. You know, it is what it is, and they're not going to play above their heads at this point.
No, you're gonna get what you're gonna get from them. D Wade may get you 20 points in one game because it's D Wade. He's still that superstar caliber player, just in a limited role now. That's why I never got everybody saying this is the best Cavs team they've seen in years. Granted, it is, but talent-wise, it's not there no more.
No.
And you basing it off of IT who was hurt. You lost possibly the second best player that was on the team in Kyrie, and you expected the same result.
And yeah.
I mean, you can argue you got a nice package back, but IT isn't IT no more.
No.
I could have told you.
And even if he was, he's not the right fit for that system. No, he doesn't work well with LeBron.
No, he's a ball dominant guard who wants to take 30 shots a game. And that's never been LeBron's MO as far as a point guard. Look, he had Boobie Gibson, Mario Chalmers over in Miami who rarely took a shot. If it was taking a shot, it was a open three that changed the game.
I was going to say, between him and Norris Cole, he had the players who said, okay, give me the ball.
Yeah.
And they'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
You knew your role in the system.
And that's what IT doesn't get right now. He doesn't know his role in the system, which is stupid. You should know. LeBron's the leader. Follow him. He came in hurt, saying he's going to average 30 points a game.
Wade knew that in Miami while he was still in his prime. You know what that took for a guy like Dwayne Wade, who's been to the finals practically by himself, to sit there and say, oh, okay, LeBron's Batman, I'm Robin.
Exactly.
Wow. And they made it work.
4 straight, got 2. Arguably, you could just say they shouldn't have won the second one, but
we'll let it go.
That's neither here nor there. Thank you, Ray Allen.
Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. To me, the East is Boston. And Toronto can make it interesting. And so can Milwaukee.
I don't like Toronto. I'm still not believing them in coming playoffs.
Like I said, they can make it interesting.
They every year they choke in the playoffs. Yeah, they got a full year with Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, and Ibaka. I'm intrigued to see how that plays out in the playoffs, but I'm not buying into it yet. Granted, I still, depending on the matchup, the Bucks playing Cleveland in the first round, they can put Cleveland out in the second round. Toronto.
Yeah. Well, and again, 1 through 8. If the season ended today and you're looking at the playoffs right now, Boston and Sixers, that could be a sweep.
Yeah.
Raptors and Heat, I could say could go to 6.
That's going to be interesting. Yeah.
That could go to 6. I would say it could go to 6. Cavs, Pacers, probably 4-1. I'd give Indiana a game.
Yeah, I'd give them 1, maybe 2, because Oladipo's been playing off his ass this
year. That too. Wizards and Bucks, that'd be a hell of a series because the Wizards have given Milwaukee a hard time this season so far. So that could be a nice back and forth series like Milwaukee had with Toronto last year in the first round. But yeah, first round pretty predictable. Looking over at the West, I'm just saying it. Maybe it's just a Midwest thing where if you're a team from the Midwest outside of Chicago, you're just not getting notoriety. But Minnesota is quietly a top 3-4 seed.
To me, it's not quiet. I mean, I knew once Jimmy Butler and Todd Gibson went over there, they're gonna make some noise over there.
Well, that's because you're smart when it comes to fouling sports. This is why we talk about this shit.
I mean,
I'm talking nationally. Like, they're not getting the highlights and recognition of Houston, of Golden State.
You got essentially, you can say 3 stars on one team. You got to, I don't want to say Golden State because they're not shooters, but you got to drive and kick Golden State, essentially. Jimmy Butler can drive. Wiggins or Towns can be on the arc because Towns for some reason can hit a 3. I'm not liking this big man hitting threes concept anymore, but still. But you reunite Jimmy Butler and Taj Gibson with Tom Thibodeau. I mean, he was the reason Chicago gave Miami and Boston fits in the playoffs. Him and D Rose. Like, come on now. You reunite him with people that know his system, know what his motto is as far as defense and all that, and preaching it to this young squad. Something was bound to happen.
Yeah.
Granted, they not going to put out Golden State or Houston, but they're on their way up.
Yeah. It's good to see.
I mean, we said a few years ago, quietly, Minnesota is going to be the next Golden State.
Yeah.
From what they was building with Wiggins and Towns.
That was almost where the two of us would be like sitting in the union at EWM, just having lunch and talking sports. Kind of like this, except we haven't had lunch yet, so we'll get there. But just talking like, if Milwaukee hits their potential, and this was before Bledsoe or Brogdon.
Yeah.
Milwaukee has the potential. Minnesota has the potential, and this was before Towns. Or this is when Towns just got there.
Yeah, this is when he was coming from Duke, I believe. No, from Kentucky.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's nice to see teams that have the potential starting to fulfill it and make splashes. That's always good to see, especially bucking the sign over the Hill veterans trend.
Yeah.
I mean you can argue they did, but yeah.
I mean, the only one that's I don't even want to say over the hill veteran is Todd Gibson.
But he fits with the system.
Exactly. He can fit in anybody's system. To me, he's like a Draymond. He's the grinder.
Yeah.
And he can fit anywhere. You can throw him on almost any team and he will grind.
Yeah. That's all we did with the East. Let's look at the West. So the West, number 1, Golden State. What a surprise. So it'd be Warriors Pelicans sweep.
Yeah,
I love you, AD, but it's sweep. 2-7 Rockets Blazers. Sorry, Damo, you're not putting him out this time.
Damn, come on, Dame.
I love Damo, I love McCollum, but they're not taking Houston this year.
That's the interesting thing, though. They're contemplating going after DeAndre now.
Oh, the Blazers?
Yeah. That could make it interesting because you got 2 guards. It's almost like a spitting image.
It's weird to me because DeAndre, for all the talent he has, does he put you over the top like that? I don't know.
I mean, he's not that skilled inside.
Yeah.
But
and he doesn't hit his free throws. So what do you get out of him? You get defense and you get rebounding.
True.
So he's a glorified role player that can dunk very fashionably.
He's a Clint Capella that can't shoot free throws. That's why I said, to me, they're like a spitting image of each other. You got 2 very good guards, and then Clint Capella and DeAndre. So they almost cancel each other out. That would be more so of a role player's game. Who has the better bench, essentially.
Now, that's always fun to watch, just because then it turns into coaching pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, because you can see Dame and Chris Paul or Dame and James going at each other, and vice versa with CJ McCollum.
Oh, yeah. Which
could be a very nice series, even though I still pick Houston in 5, maybe 6.
Probably. So 3 and 6, Spurs and Nuggets.
Spurs. I don't care.
It's Spurs that you might get a few fun games to watch, but
Denver still is a year or so away.
4-5. Yeah, this is weird to me. Another Midwest team, another high-profile potential matchup. Minnesota OKC. That could be beautiful to watch, just like Milwaukee and Washington.
Yeah. It's always the 4 and 5ers. They're always so close.
That and the 3-6.
Yeah. But Minnesota, OKC, I would have. You got the defending MVP. I gotta take that and the newly found roles established in Russ lead us, Paul George get yours when possible, and Melo picked up the rest.
I'm just saying, if it goes to 7, give me Minnesota. I like their depth.
Yeah.
Once you get beyond OKC's starting 5, they are very vulnerable.
Yeah.
Which
Especially with losing Robinson.
Yeah, it's nothing to sneeze at getting past their starting 5. Like, that's
a tough feat.
That's a tough feat in and of itself. But for a defensive specialist sort of team like Minnesota, hey, it's possible. It's possible.
Yeah, it's not something you can't say may not happen.
So that'd be an intriguing matchup to me, definitely. But it could go either way. I could see OKC too.
But no matter what, it's gonna be Golden State, Houston,
Boston
in the finals, and Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
Well, in the finals.
Those 3 are your front runners.
Yeah.
So, yeah, going into that, that's kind of how the NBA playoff picture is looking right now. You hope there's no more injuries because we've had our fair share so far with Boogie, with some of these, with Hayward.
It's been a rough year for injuries so far. It started off with Hayward going down, and what I think a matter of 2 weeks, you had a couple stars go down for a while.
Yeah, and you hope it doesn't impact the playoffs because you hate to see that happen. I mean, you look at the NFL, look at what happened to Houston. My goodness, J.J. Watt again, Deshaun Watson. Just when he was starting to tear the league up, then he goes down. Like, you hate to see that happen. It's nice for stories that, like teams like Minnesota and Philly that persevere through it, but you hate to see that determine team seasons for postseason. So hopefully we won't see too many more injuries in the NBA and things can just kind of play out as it is. We can get some good matchups. So, an idea for this podcast I kind of came up with just off our last discussion was doing almost a question or questions of the day, depending on what time we're at, because, well, these things tend to go long, and I don't know how long people actually stay in and listen to them. So, guess we'll see as time goes by. But got a few of them today, and they can be quick hits, or we'll just put them on the shelf for Thursday. So, you want to pick one out of the 4 and we'll just have at it.
You already know which one I'm picking.
Let's have at it.
The college football playoff.
College football playoff. We talked about it briefly in our little NCAA spiel last Thursday. Obviously, it's 4 teams. Playoff committee votes on them. And there's Power 5 conferences. And, of course, there's teams like UCF, Notre Dame outside the Power 5. And so inevitably somebody gets left out, a la TCU, a la Ohio State, a la UCF. So on an annual basis, it's nice to see a playoff so you don't have the BCS and just bowls, and you get a tournament feeling to it, but there's imperfections.
Yeah.
So I'll let you go on. Your thoughts with the current system. What can be tweaked? What's realistic? What's dream scenario?
I don't want to say I hate the current system because I hated the BCS. I mean, we have this new 14 playoff system because of teams like Boise State, TCU, who would go undefeated and still get snubbed. So they decided to go with the 4 playoff teams, which they still got teams like UCF. I hate to say it, Notre Dame, and even conference champions getting snubbed. It's supposed to be the conference champs that's supposed to only ones to get in, even though Bama didn't win it, even though I argue was possibly the best team to not win a conference championship, who should have got in but shouldn't at the same time for the simple fact they didn't win it. But they got in over Ohio State, who beat Wisconsin for the conference championship. I mean, the precedent was set with the year before where Ohio State got in over Penn State when they won the fucking conference championship. This is where I say it need to be literally a playoff of 8, where you got the 5 Power Fives, no matter what, who wins the conference championship to get in. Then 3 at larges where you got a mid-major like UCF, who you can't really categorize in football as a mid-major, but technically is. Notre Dame if they're undefeated or one loss, and another at large. I mean, to me, that's when you will get the actual best team in the college football. Right now, you're just saying the best out of 5 Power Fives, no matter what. If you're not a Power Five school, you're not getting in, which is stupid to me because then you're leaving out a good team like UCF who dominated, and you say they need to schedule a Power Five team, but maybe a Power Five school don't want to play them.
Well, it goes both ways because, again, Power 5 schools want their cupcake. They want to face teams like the Citadel.
Yeah. You got Bama who has a bye week before a big game. Or plays a Mercer who's technically a bye for them before a big game type stuff.
Yeah. So you look at these matchups and you're sitting here like, even in conference, there's always that team that you know going into it, whether it's... I'm trying to think of a way not to offend a fan base, but okay, here we go. Rutgers, I'm sorry, you're not that good at football anymore.
No.
So in the Big Ten, you are the jobber to teams like Michigan and Ohio State where they get a bye week. And it rotates with other conferences. I'm sure they'll be back someday, but, it rotates. Some years you look at Georgia Tech in the ACC. They might not be as flashy. You look at Mizzou in the SEC where they made a brief splash, but now they're kind of on a down year. So, I mean, it rotates conferences. Some are stronger, some are weaker. A-team is nice. Another option I've mulled over my head is doing a 6-team where the top 2 seeds get a bye week, and you either do the top 2 seeds get a bye week, or the 5 and the 6 teams play no.
It would have to be the top 2.
Yeah, it has to be the top 2.
And then you got 3 through 6.
3 through 6 playing the first week, and then you have your semifinals and your final.
I mean, to me, it makes more logical sense for a 6 or 8 because, one, you make more money.
Yeah, that's what the name of the game is. All these sponsorships, the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl and all that crap.
Just add a couple more bowls and make it a legit playoff. You don't have to do a March Madness where you got to get rid of the last month of the season and have a game a day type
No,
stuff.
I don't think that's possible.
That's very excessive.
Yeah.
Just switch to 6 or 8 where you give a chance to a UCF or a Boise State that can pop out of nowhere, go undefeated.
Yeah.
Give them a chance. Don't just say, "Oh, you undefeated," but you're not a Power 5, so you're not welcome.
Yeah.
That's essentially what they're saying.
Because you want to talk about schedules. I mean, Iowa got denied because they got blown out by Iowa. No, not Iowa. Ohio State got denied because they got blown out by Iowa.
Yeah.
Simply put. And I said it going into conference title week. The only way Ohio State can play themselves in is if they
destroy Wisconsin.
They had to destroy Wisconsin. They couldn't do that.
But it's stupid at the same time. You say criteria is you got to win your conference championship or you're not considered. Yet Ohio State 2 years ago got in, didn't win it, and Bama. Again, everybody say the committee has a hard-on for Bama, which, yeah, they do.
Yeah.
But every year they're potentially the best team in the football, thanks to Nick Saban.
Every year they've been in the playoffs, they've shown why they deserve to be there.
Yeah. So
they've been in every single final.
You can say they have a hard-on for Alabama or a hard-on for the SEC, but I mean, the proof is in the pudding. They potentially could have had 3 teams in if Georgia didn't beat them.
The only final they weren't in was when Ohio State won it with Ezekiel Elliott, and even then, that was a shootout between them and the Buckeyes.
Exactly.
So they could have been there. Since
the playoff entered the system, Bama and Saban has been involved somehow. It's no point of just saying it's a Bama bias or an SEC bias because it's not.
No, real recognizes real. You earn your spot there.
Yeah.
At least your name in the conversation.
And I am wholeheartedly not a Badgers fan. If they would have won, I said they should have been there.
Yeah.
Undefeated, dominated the Big Ten, surprisingly, but they should have been there. And I wanted to see them there because I wanted a team like Georgia or somebody to prove every Big Ten fan wrong saying they're not really ready for the stage. And I think Ohio State kind of showed that with the fact that Wisconsin really couldn't keep up with that speed against Ohio State. Even though the defense is legit, I ain't gonna lie, the defense was.
Oh yeah, Wisconsin's defense is no joke. My goodness.
Who was it, Jim Leonard? I want him as the Packers defense coordinator. Because what he did with Wisconsin was beautiful. I'm not even gonna lie, and I'm not a Badger fan.
Yeah. That was amazing to watch because that literally kept them in the game. And I put that on Facebook once the game ended. Wisconsin did not deserve to have a quarterback as bad as
Yeah. That defense deserved a legit quarterback. If they would have had Wilson with that defense, they would have won it all.
Because, even if you don't, even, for goodness sakes, Hornibrook was so turnover prone for the Badgers, you could have thrown in Scott Tolzien or John Stocco.
And would have done better. Yeah.
There's a couple old names for you. Brooks Bollinger while I'm at it. Yeah, we know our Wisconsin sports a bit. All right, you throw those guys in who were glorified game managers for the most part. They would still have done better because Hornibrook was so turnover prone. And yet, in their bowl game, decides to show up and play the game of his life. Make me look like a complete idiot. Thanks, Hornibrook.
I mean, that's not hard to do, but...
Jeez. See, I set him up for these, and he just...
I gotta dunk it. I gotta be LeBron with those. I'm sorry.
Young LeBron too, not no headband LeBron. Jeez, that's the thing people are saying. He should bring his headband back. Okay, that'll do it.
I mean, statistically, he's better this year than he ever was with his headband. So
it's a meme. It's a thing. Internet. What can you do? So long story short, get the playoffs 6 or 8 teams within the next 10 years. We hope. Yeah. That's kind of the...
It took us forever to get rid of DCS. So.
Well, yeah. That's kind of the realistic expectation, which is odd because expansion for March Madness is like nothing. It's huge enough to begin with. So add another few play-in games, why not?
And they don't need it. I think it's enough where if you can't make it to top 64, you don't deserve to be there.
No.
Top 68, technically. You don't deserve to be there.
But then there's the 10 and 11 seed play-in games who pull off this upset over the 5-6 seeds and make everybody look stupid. Yeah. So it's like, well, you shake your head. Like, I guess the more the merrier.
See, but what I don't like is they put, conference championship winners in those play-in games.
Yeah.
Which I think is stupid because you got a Big Sky championship winner in a play-in game. Like, they should be in a legit first weekend.
Yeah, you should have an actual seed. You shouldn't have to earn your seed if you won your conference title.
That should be an at-large team or a bowl team game.
Right.
Not I won my conference championship.
Even if you had a sub-500 regular season and just got on fire and won your conference tournament, like, give them a 15 seed, a 14 seed, whatever. Just give them that.
They should be in the tournament, not playing in still. Like, that's bull.
Yeah. So, every system has its flaws. What can you do? That's kind of sports and really life without getting too profound. But let's get off of that. Speaking of college hoops, Trae Young and the Sooners had a heck of a game against West Virginia and Norman last night, and the Mountaineers pulled it off. It was a good back and forth game, though, but down the stretch, again, what we've seen with Trae Young, he's turnover prone. Yeah. He's turnover prone, and I really think... And now, I'm not a fan of Oklahoma's coach and the system they have there, but he can use an extra year with it. Just extra experience at the college level. Just watching him right now. He's no...
Would that hurt him, though?
He's no Kemba.
But look at what Kemba's doing in the league. He's not really Kemba of UConn.
Yeah, it's just the translation from the college to the pro game, though.
Like, you almost argue... Okay, I'm going back to football right now. You can argue Sam Darnold, if he would have stayed the year, could have had a setback instead of if he comes out this year, he could potentially get even more better with a pro coach than it would be a college coach.
Yeah.
To me, that's how different the coaching is from college to pro.
Well, that's true.
Why, when you know you're one and done, because Trae Young came into college, he was a YouTube sensation.
Pretty much.
And came into college knowing he's a one and done. Why stay another year in, I don't want to say mediocre coaching, but get college coaching when you can go to the NBA and get somebody like a Billy Donovan, maybe a Brad Stevens, who I believe still got the Lakers pick would potentially could be a top 5 pick or something.
Yeah.
And get something like that. Unless you would have coached K, like you can argue Marvin Bagley, even though I think he's gonna
he's gone.
He's gone. he's gonna be to me
Krzyzewski,
the best pro out there.
He will show him the door the same way he did with Kyrie and Jabari.
Yeah. Like if you're not on a Coach K team where you can get taught more, there's no point in staying.
No.
And Bagley, if he would stay another year, probably would come out and be even more dominant than what he will be. But he's dominating the game now. He could probably went from high school to the pros. That's how good he is right now.
Yeah. The physicality is ridiculous, and his control, his athleticism can definitely translate to the next level.
Yeah. And shockingly, he's a clutch performer. He hit a 3 when he was down against Virginia a week ago to tie it up, I believe.
Yeah.
He's a clutch performer.
So, you look at that, you look at Bridges over in Michigan State and what he's able to do. There's some nice prospects coming out for this draft. It'll be fun to watch in March Madness, if nothing else besides the upsets for these players to see how far they can carry their teams.
Yeah.
Because to me, when Ben Simmons was at LSU, you could almost tell he was like...
He wasn't playing.
He wasn't.
He was playing, but he wasn't. He was more so, I'm just going to come out here, set y'all up, and not get hurt.
It was, yeah, you could kind of tell he was a little more cautious with his play. Like, he wasn't trying to put himself in harm's way as much. He wasn't a Westbrook, for lack of a better word.
I mean, you could see it in high school where it's completely different. When he went to, Mount Verde, I believe, out in Cali. He played completely different than he did in LSU. LSU, he was more passive, which he was passive in high school, but he still would take you off the dribble and put you on a poster.
Yeah.
College, he was literally, I'm not getting hurt. I'm going pro finna make millions. Why cost myself?
Pretty much. So yeah, going into the tournament, even conference tournament, oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, this is February. This is about time. Holy crap.
The complete lack. I don't want to say complete lack of the number 1 seed, but this is something we might say on every freaking podcast. You have Nova, you have Virginia, you can argue Purdue. I wouldn't, but that's just me.
Don't hate on Purdue, man.
I'm not hating on them. I'm just saying that they're beatable.
Oh yeah,
Along with every team in the country.
Every team is beatable. The only team that you could argue was unbeatable was Kentucky with AD and Willie Cauley-Stein that year when I believe they went undefeated. That's the only team that was unbeatable.
Yeah.
And the Twins, Aaron and Andrew Harrison.
Yeah, it'll be fun to watch because you always, especially the media coverage, always has its few storylines to like putting out there, and one of them's definitely going to be the players, and the other's going to be just the openness and the potential for finally a 116 upset.
But right now, who are the number 1 seeds? Duke, Virginia.
Is it Duke?
If Duke doesn't get number 1, I will be shocked. I
I
believe they played themselves back into the top at least 8. No.
Right now we're looking at it. This is from yesterday's rankings, February 5th. The AP has Virginia, Villanova number 1, Virginia 2, Purdue 3. That hasn't changed the past couple weeks. Michigan State 4 with Bagley, Xavier 5. They've been playing really well. Cincinnati's 21-2 at number 6.
Yeah, they are quietly just destroying everybody.
All right. Then you got your Duke and Texas Tech, and Auburn and Kansas rounding out the top 10. No particular order.
By the end of the conference tournament, I see Duke being the number 1 seed, and with Bagley, I don't see them losing it to 16.
Yeah.
That will have to be a very favorable matchup for the 16 seed, and I don't see any team that's potentially a 16 taking out Bagley, Grayson Allen, who's a complete veteran in Duke's system right now.
I think everybody else can be on alert, though, for as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the rest of the top 25. How many of these teams have 4, 5, and 6 losses? It's insane.
Yeah, unfortunately, my Gators is one of them, but...
Well, Michigan, they're 19-6. They're 20th. That's just how the season goes. Kentucky's 17-6. They're still 24. You have the pedigree. You have the quality wins. You'll be there. And once you get there, it's what you do. I mean, look at South Carolina last year and the run they went on.
Yeah.
That was about as weird as it sounds. South Carolina is no small school, but that's about as close as a Cinderella as I think we got last year.
Yeah, that was what, Treadwell, right?
Thornwell,
yeah.
Sirius Thornwell. Yeah,
one of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially the way they blasted Duke. That was great.
Yeah, I enjoyed that game.
Oh man, so lots to look forward to in college basketball. Tonight NBA though, Tuesday night, February 6th, we get Bucks and Knicks, which is always fun to watch. Giannis and Porzingis go at it. We also get Celtics Raptors.
Oh,
1
nice.
and 2 seed. I gotta look and see, is that TNT or ESPN?
It's probably ESPN. Actually, no, probably TNT.
Because that one I kind of want to watch. So let's see. Wow, it doesn't look like it's either. Yeah, Boston.
Thunder and Warriors TNT tonight.
Yep, I just saw that.
And Wizards Sixers.
Thunder and Warriors. Oh my gosh, I'm not gonna sleep tonight.
That's gonna be great. That's gonna be great.
That's the joy of living in Central Time Zone. These West Coast games don't tip off till like 9:30 our time.
That's gonna be great. Sadly, I gotta work. Crap.
You can listen to it live on the radio.
This is true, but it's not the same.
It's really not.
You got Westbrook versus KD. It's not the same.
It's not. And then another one that'll be just fun to watch the score tomorrow is Cleveland Orlando.
Didn't they lose? They was up.
They lost last time to Orlando.
They was up against Orlando and lost. Like, how do you lose to the Magic?
On a side note, looking at the Magic's record, 16-36. Atlanta 16-37. They've got like the worst records in the game. I'm really glad that the NBA has come to a point where we're not in March and the Sixers or Bucks have only got 15 wins. I'm glad we've come to that point where tanking obscenely isn't as obvious.
Yeah, I mean, you can see where tanking has got the Sixers. They can potentially make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where you can argue tanking is bad, yeah. But if it helps you rebuild faster than being a mediocre mid to no playoff team at all, why not do it for a year or two?
Right.
Even though they did it for what, 4?
5, I don't know. It was too long.
Even though you can say they're doing it now with folks still being on the men, but again, I say whoever's the shooting coach for Philly needs to be shot. Because the man was, the Naismith last year?
And you haven't seen much from him this year.
Yeah.
So.
A shoulder injury, and now he doesn't have his shot. Like, dude, you was top college player last year, even though you was on a non-March Madness team. You was the top scorer in college basketball all of last year. Where did that go? Like, whoever's the shooting coach needs to be shot, like old Yeller style, in the backyard right now.
This is the proverbial sacrificial lamb. You gotta go. I'm sorry. You are the David Blatt of this team. You gotta go.
You done messed up our number 1 pick that we traded up for.
Yeah. So. Oh, gosh. Let's see what time we're at. We are at an hour and a half. Holy freaking crap. All right. The last one was, an hour, 20 minutes after I edited it? We'll probably get this one down to an hour 20 again. Maybe. I don't know. Anything else we need to cover?
Nah, I think we got most of it.
I think we got most of it. This is probably just going to be a thing. And like I said, we had 4 questions for our question of the day, per se. Today's was the college football player format. Some others we can look at. Vikings cube quarterback situation in the offseason. All of them are free agents. What do they do? Who do they bring in? Who do they let walk? Another one intriguing for hockey talk, which we haven't done as much of as I'd like to yet, is the Vegas Golden Knights. They've been shocking with...
Let's go, Fleury.
Whatever.
Don't do that.
Okay.
It doesn't look good on you like that, man.
It really doesn't. Okay. Fleury is fantastic. Somehow still, Fleury is fantastic. And the Vegas Golden Knights have unlocked the key to success because right now they're having one of the best expansion years.
Forget expansion. They're having the best year in hockey right now.
Pretty much. But for an expansion team in their first year, it's unheard of. Literally.
And they only got 2 stars that I can recognize, and James Neal and
Marc-Andre Fleury. Yeah. So it'd be worth looking at them, sitting down and seeing like how have they gotten their success from management to coaches. What are the other teams who let these players go missing out on? And what does this mean for the future? You'll be all right. You still got Murray.
Still, man. It's still not the same not seeing him in that Penguin jersey.
Yeah. It's Penguins Knights tonight too, so.
It's trying to be a great game.
So we'll have to talk some NHL Thursday and see what's going on around the league and if any of it matters to the playoffs, because goodness knows, once a team gets hot, a la Pittsburgh.
Don't hate.
A la Nashville.
Back-to-back champs.
Teams like that.
Took out Nashville last year. Don't hate.
I'm just saying I would love another rename matchup.
Fuck. But yeah, I would love to see it again. Still.
So,
Pittsburgh.
just kind of look around the league, seeing where we're at, because we just passed the All-Star break. So, just seeing what the NHL is looking like, and just look around besides football and basketball, because we can be versatile if nothing else. Look at baseball offseason. There's been some big moves. Yankees, Brewers, Astros have all made some moves towards the postseason. Seeing if Chicago can get back to form, get back to the World Series. The Cardinals are always there. And just looking kind of across the sports spectrum and getting outside of our little basketball, football comfort zone. So those are a few things you can look forward to on Thursday. Between now and then, I'll be editing and hopefully uploading this to Facebook by Thursday morning before we do some more recording again. So if you've listened all this time, thank you so much. Appreciate it. And hope you keep going with us as the days and weeks go by. So I've been Logan.
I'm Travon.
Y'all stay good.